with some examples of some of the plantings they have here of what they will be replicating at the Saratoga Springs site. The pedestrian plan showing the various sidewalks and widths of the sidewalks, as well as the any trail connections they have as well, for obviously great pedestrian access through the facility. And staff recommends approval with the findings and conditions on the screen. And then you do have the option to continue or forward a negative recommendation as well.
Is the applicant here this evening? Could you come up and join us? And anyone who is with you can come up and join you as well. Do you have anything you would like? Well, please state your name and address for the record.
Rick Frericks, Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Do you want the ad?
No, that's fine.
Is your microphone on, Rick? Is the button?
It looks to be on, yes.
Oh, green light's on, okay.
Go ahead. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I think that's a good description of it.
Okay. You guys can sit down if you'd like, or you can stand. It's up to you.
Sure.
Well, I think we can find another one. And that mic should be on as
Kohler,
well.
Director of Facility Planning and Development for Intermountain Healthcare.
Okay. All right, I'll turn this over to the Planning Commission for any questions or comments that they have. Commissioner Kilgore, you can go.
I was just going to ask the planning staff, there's a page here that shows the storm drains and the sewer drains and all that, with some notes about the capacity and the temporary 8-inch sewer connection. Market Street is limited until it's replaced with a future 24-inch connection. So I was just wondering if you felt that there was enough sewer capacity for this in the time frame of building this facility.
I forgot this is a public,
for engineering.
this is a public hearing. Can we hold off on that? And I will open this up for public comment first. Anyone who would like to make public comment on the IHC Village Plan 1, the mic is open if you'd like to come up and make comment. Okay, there is no public comment, so we'll close public comment. And we'll go back to Commissioner Kilgore for his question about sewer capacity. And Dan, do you have anything you'd like to, I think I turned you on. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're that comment about the sewer capacity is kind of a general comment that is anything in this area and above there. We do have capacity. We're not worried. It is something we want to put on the records, though. We're not overly concerned that IHC is going to be in 10 years from now when maybe some things are changed, but it's more just stating that we recognize that in the future there could be sewer capacity issues in here, but you know, engineering and our city master plans, we're resolving those things as development happens. And we have a big gravity sewer system that is making progress every year. We're connecting more of it, and that will help with relieving some of the capacity issues in this area. So.
Okay. So as far as this facility goes, you're not anticipating any issues there?
No.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. Oh.
Yes.
When you turn off the mics that aren't being used, it confuses the cameras configured to.
Okay.
And I'm done. Thanks.
Any other comments from the Planning Commission?
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Commissioner Ryan.
I just had a quick question on the open space plan. It's item 6. It's page 51 on my screen here. But with the irrigation canal, is that up to the city to try to work with that, or is that up to the IHC to try to get that buried? I just feel like it's a great idea. I just wonder, assessing and handicapping the chances.
No, they would have to, it's up to the canal owner, actually. They can say yes or no. Typically, we require canal burial and then the trail that goes along the canal, but ultimately it's up to the canal owner.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner Ryan. Commissioner McConkey.
I have a question for staff also regarding the sign, because the sign is straying from the general ordinance, correct?
Excuse me?
The monument sign is different from the ordinance.
Based on the height, a little bit taller perhaps. This is, again, their standard package that they use for their wayfinding to the facility.
Right, and this is because of the development agreement?
Oh,
That-
by nature of the village plan and the community plan, you can stray from the standard Title 19. We prefer it not to, but in the case of, the necessity of a hospital and the safety of the residents, as far as their wayfinding package, the signage package, we're in complete agreement with what they're doing.
Right, and that approval's already happened?
No,
correct?
it's approved through this.
This, okay.
Well, I take it back. I can't, it's in the community plan, so it's already approved.
Okay, that was my impression.
Yeah, yeah.
Checking there. That's all I have. I like the curb appeal of the buildings.
Any other comments or questions from the Planning Commission? All I have to say is I'm kind of excited about this to get going. I know originally when the University of Utah and the IHC hospitals were brought before the Planning Commission a number of years ago, we had a Commissioner Funk he made this statement that this is going to change Saratoga Springs. So I'm kind of glad that I'm on the commission still and seeing these things come to pass. I will open it up for a motion.
Based upon the information discussion tonight, I move to forward a positive recommendation to City Council regarding Intermountain Healthcare Village Plan 1 with the findings and conditions in the staff report.
We have a motion from Commissioner Anderson. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
A second from Commissioner McConkey. Any question on the motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Looks like it passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
Next Tuesday at 6 o'clock right here.
For city council?
Yes, yes.
Thank you,
Okay.
Steve.
Do we need anything else? Do you need anything else from us for that?
Thank you, David.
Okay, item number 5 is a public hearing for the North Shore Commercial General Plan Amendment from Regional Commercial and Light Industrial to Office Warehouse and rezone from Regional Commercial and Mixed Residential to Office Warehouse located at 653 North Saratoga Road. Elizabeth Cole is the applicant, presented by Planning Director David Stroud.
Yes, Planning Commission, this is also a public hearing and will be a recommendation to the City Council. This is a two-part request. One is to amend the general plan land use map, and the other is to propose a new zone on the property. So first off, the general plan request is the property you see in blue in the center of the picture. It's currently industrial and regional commercial on the general plan, and they would like to go to office warehouse. These are two lots that are already platted in an improved subdivision. And then the rezone, again, the parcels in blue, currently zoned mixed residential and regional commercial, and again would go to then the proposed office warehouse zone, which of course is then in line with the general plan, should the general plan change as well to office warehouse. The purpose of the development is to build office warehouse site facilities. This is a concept plan. Again, concept plans are non-binding going through the rezone process, but this is the intent of what the applicant would like to do with the property, and give you just some artistic renderings of the buildings you see here. Your storefronts, would be along the rights of way. If you go back to this building 3A at the top, that would have a storefront appearance to the north, which would be what faces Pioneer Crossing. And then building 1A would also have a storefront as it faces Saratoga Road. Also interior building 2A would have the storefronts then would be on the west side of building 2A. And so staff recommends approval based on the findings and conditions of the staff report, and open for any questions.
Is the applicant here? You can come up and join us. And Crystal, if you would like, you can maybe come up and join her as well. Do you have anything you'd like to add to the presentation? Well, please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Elizabeth Cole, representing the Wadsworth Development Group at 166 East, 140th South in Draper, Utah.
Do you have anything you would like to add to the presentation?
No, not specifically, just in general that we have potential users clamoring to get into Saratoga Springs in this building, and we're eager to get moving as quickly as we can so that we can bring these projects to fruition.
Okay. Go ahead and take a seat. This is a public hearing, so I'll now open this up for the public to make comment on the North Shore Commercial General Plan Amendment. If anyone's here to make comment, go ahead. As we have no comments, we will close public comment, and I'll open this up for the commission for any comments that they have. Commissioner Wagstaff.
I just have one question. On the square footage, a few months back, we had to where it was going to be limited to like 30,000 square feet for industrial. Is that only industrial, or did that ever go through the city council too? Oh, perfect. That's good. Because we had a long discussion about how arbitrary that 30,000 number was and being too small, so I'm glad it didn't go anywhere. Okay, perfect.
Commissioner Kilgore.
So the only does not comply is the maximum height of the structures. It says here 35 feet to be approved by city council via a development agreement. Do we need the development agreement in place first before we do this, or is it already in place?
Go ahead.
We're working on the development agreement as we speak. I've got a new revised version just today. That's strictly between the applicant and the city council, and so it would be part of your recommendation to change to do the height. And based on a rezone request with the DA, that height can be part of that.
Okay. Yeah, because, so I guess we should, huh?
Should what?
So right now, it doesn't comply, the maximum height. It can be addressed via development agreement, so I don't see that as a condition in the,
Yeah, I was just looking at that too.
Yeah, I mean, not really a condition because, again, that's not something that you review, really.
Right.
I did point it out in the staff report that they're requesting that, but again, that's strictly between the council and the developer.
Okay. Well, it does say, site plan shall be applied, I can't read it, shall be applied for to comply with the standards contained in the Land Development Code for such a request, and any items contained with a city council approved development agreement. Okay, because I don't know, I just feel a little uncomfortable, okay, just going ahead with the does not comply as long as there's something in there that shows that it can comply because, or once the development agreement is in place. I'm not sure how to.
Is that something we could add to the conditions, or is that?
If you feel it's a condition, something you want to put up to the vote, sure, that's your call.
The applicant had a comment.
Yeah, I would like to comment on that. I actually want to clarify that the height that we are asking for, which is really critical to the operation of this type of facility, is 40 feet to the top of the parapet rather than 35 that's in the staff report. But I also believe that the height maximum is 35 rather than 30. And David and I had this discussion and we didn't quite loop back together. But we do need a parapet height of 40 feet in order to get the clearances required for the equipment and for this type of operation. And that's fairly standard in these types of buildings throughout the valley. So we're working that through. Our elevations do reflect, and our design does reflect that height. So we're hopeful that there will not be an issue there. The planning staff has not expressed any concern with that additional 5 feet.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. I just feel that, though, if it doesn't comply, then we should put something in to make sure that a development agreement does include that in there so that you are in compliance. But
Yeah.
I'm not against the extra feet at all. yeah, I think if your operations need it, we definitely want to do that, but
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out just administratively, how do we put that in there? You know, I guess I was just wondering if, since in the chart it says does not comply, and then under notes or under how, it could be approved by city council via a development agreement. I just want to make that like necessary or whatever. So,
Looks like our city attorney has a comment he'd like to make.
or
Yeah,
do I
was
need
just,
to?
I was just going to ask Dave, is this part of the concept plan for the buildings, or is this?
Well, concept plans are non-binding.
Yeah,
I
so is
think
this part of the concept plan?
the height,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Yeah.
then it's non-binding, and so the city council could, not agree to it in a development agreement, or they could agree to it. You're not approving the concept, you're approving is it a rezone?
Yeah, you're just
Yeah,
looking, yeah, just the rezone of the general plan is what you're formally taking action on.
I hope that helps,
Yeah,
but I think you could make it a condition. It's already a condition.
oh, so that.
Without saying it's already conditioned, the city council would have to agree to a development agreement and to that variation.
Oh, okay.
You're not approving it. The city council would have to.
Okay, yeah, I just thought if we want to go ahead with the rezone, then I just wouldn't want to see, otherwise, I mean, there's no point in having complies or non-complies, but if there is a non-comply, then
Yeah,
just
I
want to make sure.
mean, why that's in there just gives you an idea. Again, a concept is there for the purpose of saying, okay, if this rezone is approved, what could we get? And so that's why those figures are in there, but you're not taking any action on those figures. You're taking action strictly on the rezone and the general plan amendment.
Okay. Yep, you're right, yep, okay. And then I was going to ask, what prompts the rezone, just because you want to change, because we want to change the type of building structures that are there, so that's what prompts the rezone request, is that?
Right, well, yeah, this type of building you can't build, obviously, in mixed residential, and you can't build it in regional commercial.
Right,
So it's the office warehouse zone.
okay, all right, thank you.
Commissioner Henderson, did you have something?
Yeah. When considering a rezone, is there any traffic study or implications considered before you rezone? Because we're glad that they're clamoring to come, and I'm all for it. I just know that means lots of clamoring trucks on Pioneer Crossing, if we could even fit them, right? So I guess my question is, if we do rezone and it becomes this, this office warehouse type space, it brings a certain kind of traffic, right, to a already strained corridor. Does any kind of thing happen at the rezone level?
Dan, when do you require that traffic study?
Probably not, is my guess. But
Keep mashing it, it keeps not.
Don't think you did a traffic impact, say with the concept rezone, right? I didn't work on this one specifically, but I'm familiar with. So that would come when they
Sure.
do a site plan and stuff, so that a little bit later.
Right. I just know this part of Pioneer Crossing especially is especially difficult to navigate. And I don't know that putting more houses there alleviates it either, right? So,
Right. So in our traffic study for the master plan for North Shore, we did consider the regional commercial and the traffic. So it is slightly different traffic, but what I'm being told is that it will be fewer cars, but you are right, larger trucks.
rocks in the river,
Right. So it has been considered, and what we're working with through the city as far as the North Shore project is concerned, the roads are being widened per the impact that we're putting as the North Shore project development.
So just a follow-up question, thank you for that context. I know it's kind of a chicken and the egg, you say, which one comes first, the UDOT or our strain on the infrastructure, right? And you have to have strain in order for UDOT to play ball, right? And so my question is, does certain zones accelerate or cause that process to shift or move or accelerate depending on how it's zoned. That makes sense? I don't know if that makes sense.
I would assume it's probably traffic driven, you know, one zone could have much more traffic than another, or one zone could have, you know, peak traffic hours, or all zones have peak traffic hours. I think it's just gonna depend on traffic counts.
Yeah, and Commissioner Anderson, like Chriselle was saying, Saratoga Road is, the transportation master plan is for a 5-lane section. So as you turn off Pioneer right there, in the future, it'll be 5-lane, 2 each direction with the center turn lane. And then, I don't know what UDOT's schedule is on Pioneer Crossing, but I know I saw some concepts with dual left turn lanes there instead of one. And yeah, it's definitely driven by the average daily vehicle traffic on there, so.
Now, our transportation master plan does show another connection to Pioneer further west with a light, I believe. Dan can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, in time, if that does go through, obviously that does provide then another outlet as property here develops as you go west.
Thanks. Thanks for taking the time to educate me. That's good.
Any other comments from the commission? Commissioner McConkey?
When I was reading through this packet, I was really curious to what everyone else on the commission thought about this as well. What do we have going on around, because we've got some development on the west and south of this currently, correct?
Yeah, what you see on the map there, if you can see my cursor comes through where it says MR, this property now is under review now. Chriselle, you formally applied for that, correct? Yeah. Yeah, so DR Horton's looking to build that property as well. One thing I put in the development agreement is to have a masonry wall separating that existing mixed residential and so this office warehouse go through adjacent to that property as well. And so you'll see that develop in the future. To the west, where it's ag property, it's called that north lot, what's part of a lot is called Banana Point, is the owner, and then Cliff Lake is the owner down of this property down here. Currently, nothing on that property as far as development goes. They've actually applied to the council to actually disconnect that property to go into Lehigh. Council has said no, and so we don't have any action from that request beyond that point right now.
Okay. And south of it is also DR Horton, is that right? Are those townhomes?
As you go south,
Single
yeah,
family?
anything in the purple here is DR Horton. This ag property, I'm not sure if that's still a county island right there or not. It could be. I believe this is a city well site. Is that what you probably can't see? Yeah. Yeah, right there.
You turn her mic on.
That yellow piece on the east side, the larger one right there, that is part of our phase 3. So
Okay.
it should be purple
Okay.
and not yellow. But there is a piece that belongs to the Wilsons and is not part, but it's farther south from what you're showing there on the screen.
And as you move west, you got Utah County property, which they've actually applied to rezone that property, so we're working on that application as well. And then you have the city public works facility.
Okay. And the development south is,
It's small lot, single family, and then it moves to townhomes as you go further south.
okay.
So we will have our lowest densities across from there.
The lowest density will be against this.
But it's divided by a collector route. So that road that runs, it's called Lazarette, 550 North. It's 77-foot right-of-way, Daniel? Yeah, it's a collector route for the city, so it's a major thoroughfare.
Okay.
Or
And then, Go for it.
the collectors are 77. This one actually is a little bigger than that just because of that, some utilities from Lehigh that needed to be accommodated for.
And the turn lanes and things that we needed for the left turns and things.
Yep.
okay, and then the property on the west side,
The
Also,
property that-
single family?
Also single family, so right up against where David pointed out that there'll be fences on those boundaries. We do have what we call cottage lots, which are about 4,500 to 6,000 square feet. And then as you move farther west, it changes to townhomes, and there is a large detention basin that's in there as well that will function as a park. I think there's 53, I believe, 53 homes in that pink square.
Okay. So I'm slightly uneasy, just because trying to create the buffer between the single-family homes, of course, and commercial buildings. I'm kind of right in the fence in my mind here. What can we look at what the ideal buffer is between single family and the?
Nothing is, I mean, what's ideal is to some is going to be not ideal to another. If you look,
Sure.
if you look here on the
I'm
concept.
looking at what the city's done so far historically.
Well, the very base, what we have in the code would be the height of the structure would be the setback to residential property. So if you look here on the screen, for instance, lot 2A, you've got a row of parking, a drive lane, so you're going to have 18 and 18 for the parking. So that's 38, 48, 58, 62 feet just in the purple.
Sure.
Not sure what that green is, probably 15 to probably 20 feet there. So you're still going to be substantial, this is way over what the minimum standard would be on what the normal setback would be. And the addition of a masonry wall instead of like a
Right,
a
and then
vinyl.
we've got the warehouse buildings that we're looking at, possibly hoping for a 40-foot approval from city council next to single-family homes that I'm assuming are going to be more like 25 feet.
Yeah, they'll be two-story, single-family, but we've also had to elevate our site, so the part that's residential has been lifted out of the floodplain by about 6 to 7 feet. So there is that additional, and it slopes down to this commercial. So the 40-foot elevation and our buildings are not going to look so far off as they may.
You'll be raising the floodplain anyway on these
So the floodplain has been-
warehouse buildings as well.
I don't know if they, no,
No.
that doesn't work the same for commercial.
Okay,
And they're out of the floodplain. The floodplain dissipates in that corner anyway.
Okay.
Very little of their parcel, probably just where you see that green, below 3A, is that what it is? Yeah, that's the only portion that it nips the floodplain there. So where their buildings are being built, they are not in a floodplain.
okay. I'm trying to look at this just strictly as zones and not looking at potential buildings or concept plans and so forth. I think that my comfort would be a little more if I knew that it wasn't hoping to be a little taller than the 30 feet. That's really all I have to say. Thanks.
Commissioner Anderson, thanks, Commissioner McCarthy.
Last question. On things like this, we notice residents within 300
Right,
feet.
there no public notices go out, we have not received any comment. Well, the majority of the property that surrounds there is owned by
Right.
D.R. Horton to the north. There's a couple of different owners, and to the east is Lehigh, but.
So we do notice citizens of other cities, even though it's,
We notice, yep.
okay. Great, thanks.
Any other, Commissioner Ryan?
So just a quick point of clarification, like it's already a regional commercial zone, correct?
Yeah, so here's the zone map, and you can see underneath the blue RC. So that section now is regional commercial right now.
So the idea in my mind is that regardless, there could be a potential for a large development, commercial size development to go in there.
I mean,
either way,
as the current zone sits right now.
As the current zone
Sure,
sits.
Sure.
So I think it's just, I think the point's well made, but I mean, if we don't change it, it's still regional commercial unless we go somewhere else entirely with it at this point, correct?
Right.
So the thing I'm interested in is what's the driver? Is this D.R. Horton wanting to change what you're originally doing? Is this you were approached, or this is?
No,
If I could get some insight, that'd be awesome.
Okay, so when when North Shore was originally approved and through our development, the council required that that lighter shade of blue, that 13 acres, be zoned RC. So it was a requirement of a development agreement. And in that development agreement, there was a 2-year marketing term in which D.R. Horton had to market actively to bring someone that could develop this as a commercial or an office warehouse kind of situation, so that business was coming with all of the residential's units that were approved. So that's kind of the motivation. We've been marketing it for probably 18 months. Wadsworth was the successful bidder, and so this is where we're at. If it does not get rezoned and we cannot sell it, it reverts back to MR, and we receive another 192 residential units to be built there.
Excellent. Thanks for the background. I appreciate that. And then my other question, just in follow-up, is for staff, Director Stroud. We're reasonably only talking, I think, approximately 22 acres, and I know Mr. Young's not here, but we feel comfortable with the change that we're not precluding ourselves from possible other opportunities in this to come to the city.
No, and if you want to talk trends in the commercial market, there's a huge demand for this type now. These smaller office warehouse, you'll have storefronts typically that face the public road. You see a lot of these types of developments in other cities that do have a retail component. Now, that's not a requirement in the office warehouse. That was proposed to the council when we made some changes to have at least a minimum retail or office component. Council didn't want to go that route. So the door would be open to configure those, any number of ways. But I think we'd anticipate that how it's laid out, that they'll have a retail component facing Saratoga Road and Pioneer Crossing.
Thanks. I appreciate the background. Thank you. Commissioner Kilgore.
Okay, so I guess more clarification after you mentioned that you had a development agreement with the city, and for 2 years you had to market it for businesses that would be appropriate for the regional commercial, and then now, so if we were to change it, then what would that do with the development agreement that's still in place for another 6 months or so? I mean, with that requirement,
I'll jump in on that. There's some language in the development agreement proposed by the applicant that would basically say that this development agreement supersedes any previous agreements.
Okay.
If there's no other comments from the commission, I'll go ahead and make my comments. I'm for this. I would much rather have this than, say, mixed residential. I think the office warehouse, this is not a 6 million square foot Walmart distribution center. We're not going to have 100 trucks coming in and out of here every day. We're probably going to have maybe a couple of UPS trucks coming in. Probably what's going to go in here is light manufacturing maybe, or I've worked in this type of situations before, and maybe we had a couple of delivery trucks a week and we did our thing in the warehouse. I don't think we're going to have much traffic coming in and out of here. If we put a Walmart there, there'd be a heck of a lot more traffic. If we had mixed residential, there'd be more traffic. I think this is going to be a lot less traffic than what we're thinking. I think this is going to be way better for the community in general. The only comment I have to say is if the property to the west happens to de-annex, I don't think I want to require a fence be put up there. Just because, out of spite of anything. And that's all I have to say, and I will go ahead and open this up for a motion.
I'll make the motion. Move to recommend approval to the city council. Maybe I'll read from this side. The request to amend the general plan land map from light industrial and regional commercial to office warehouse and rezone from mixed residential and regional commercial to office warehouse on the 22.23 acres at 653 North Saratoga Road is outlined with the findings and conditions in the staff report dated September 23rd, 2021.
We have a motion from Commissioner McConkey. Do we have a second?
A second.
I have a second from Commissioner Kilgore. Do we have a question on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. That passes unanimously. Congratulations. Okay, the next item is commissioner comments. I just would like to make one. Last week I failed to thank the planning staff for the lovely birthday card I got. It was my birthday in September. And I wanted to thank you guys for sending that. That was great to get. That's correct. I can't do the higher math to tell you how many anniversaries of my 29th birthday I've had. But yeah. All right, so next item is the director's report, but he's kind of stepped out for a minute.
Jump in, Fred, give us a report.
I guess one thing, should we make a recommendation if these buildings in the office warehouse need to be taller, should we maybe change our code so they don't have to do something with every time doing developers agreement or something?
I don't know how common it is. I've only been here, 6 months. It's the first time I've seen a request for a taller building. But I've only been here 6 months, so.
Okay.
The applicant did mention that in order for them to get their equipment through and to do some things that it was required to be higher. So I wonder if there's some kind of, or if it's just a certain type of use for that facility. But she did say that that's the reason why they were requesting that.
Do you know, Dan?
They look like pretty standard units, though. It didn't look like they were trying to go any taller than standard. So I think we need to look into that, because it's probably, we are better off adding 5 feet to it if that's the major use of that zone.
Yeah, I wonder if it has to do with warehousing and the size of equipment or something that is going in the buildings. I don't really know.
When she said that, I thought, oh, I should have asked why. She said that it's pretty standard for the equipment that they're using. And so I thought we should ask, because maybe that is the case for most people now. I don't know.
Looking at the concept plan, they've got room for, 2 stories or, a significant mezzanine height. Certainly tilt-up buildings are going to come in different sizes and heights and so forth, whatever is anticipated. So, I look at even the comment of, that's what size equipment, and I wonder, well, what kind of equipment goes in there? Are we talking a manufacturing facility that you've got, tall processing equipment kind of thing? Or are we talking cranes? Are we, we talking just, high rack shelving? I think you can fit a lot of equipment in a space that's a lot less than 40 feet high. So it just kind of begs the question of what exactly are they anticipating? So I don't know, as far as warehouse buildings, it might be worth looking at what the typical warehouse size is, but otherwise you're looking at, maybe 2 different types of warehouse uses.
Yeah, and at this point, it's kind of speculative because we don't have the applicant here to explain it, and we don't really have the information to answer
And they may
the
just be
questions.
leaving their options open, really.
Yeah, or maybe they have a particular tenant who has said, we need it this height.
Yeah.
Well, she said they needed 35 feet, and then 40 feet is because of the parapet. So is the parapet just a design item? Is the parapet just a design item on?
Well, a parapet serves the purpose of blocking mechanical equipment. And so, I can pull up their file here in a minute just to get more detail on the elevations, but, and we have minimum parapet heights. I want to say it's, don't quote me, 2 feet, where when you do have a parapet, it has to be at least 2 feet. That still may not block mechanical, especially with large buildings. You could have some very substantially sized HVAC units up on top, which you'd have to just throw some other kind of screen wall up on top of there as well.
Okay, we were just wondering if we should look at increasing the height in that zone.
And we've discussed that as well, zoning by development agreements, not the best way to go about it. Let's just look at it, zone-wide. Maybe 40 is, the standard that's needed now. Who came up with the 35 way back when? We don't know. But, perhaps 40 would be the way to go and just go change that as one of our formal text changes. And with the council, if the council does agree to this, to go to 40, why would another office warehouse zone not matter? So it would probably make sense if they agree to it, that we'll come back then through a change to go to 40.
Could we consult some experts that do, because we've done that in the past. We talked to commercial experts, warehouse experts, and what they were needing to see if we need to make a higher height.
And we could probably put some weight into what Elizabeth Cole said. If she's more in the business than we are, obviously, of building these types of buildings. If they've got tenants that are saying, no, yeah, this is the type of building we want, but we need 40, there's probably some value to that.
All right.
I get a question. Measuring the building height on these warehouses, is it top of parapet or top of?
It's to the top of the structure. And so we'd have to.
So that would include the parapet
get
then
into
in that
the
case.
details of that.
Wouldn't be top of roof surface then?
Top of the structure, highest point of the structure.
So looking at, again, at these kind of buildings with the architectural, having a higher allowance allows for some, a little more architectural freedom on your multi-elevation.
And there's things, when I've seen our code, things I've thought that I've used in other cities, other codes, where you have the roof height, but you're allowed, architectural features, or one city had, an elevator shaft, obviously the structure needed the elevator, but it also had to have this, all the mechanical up above to get the elevator to work, which then went above the building. So, we could come back with things like that where, architectural enhancements or non-habitable structures can exceed the building height by 5, whatever it may be. But there are cities that do things like that as far as building height.
All right. Director's report.
Ken, apologize, Ken. He was at the league conference today and was late getting back because of traffic. We do have the offer out and verbally accepted by our planner 1. We're hoping he will start on October 11. Name is Kendall Black. He is a Saratoga Springs resident. Currently, will be finishing up working for Bountiful City right now, who does planning up there and code enforcement. And so he will be coming on board as a planner 1.
And I guess we have something coming up.
One more item. Next planning commission meeting is canceled.
Okay.
Due to fall break. So that made sense again to then have this meeting so we can get our numbers in, and we have these items that need to go forward anyway. So we appreciate that.
All right. Do we need any need for closed session this evening? Or
we do not.
Okay. Well, without objection, we will adjourn this meeting until the next one in late October.